Greener is a simple abstract two-player game, very small, a filler. It comes in this small bag, and actually you're supposed to be playing it here on the back of the bag itself. This is supposed to be the board. It doesn't work at all because you will see the board is going to be really packed. All of these squares are going to have a plastic pyramid in them. And since there's no way of having this one lay flat, they keep like pushing against each other, getting out of position, and makes playing the game annoying to the point of being pretty much impossible, or at least not worth it. So instead I made my own beautiful deluxe version, which is pretty depressing, I know, but at least I can play the game. I also actually, thanks to that, I add a little bit of space between the plastic pyramids that I used to play the game, because it's already kind of tricky. Really have to grab them towards the bottom, otherwise, oh, it's a pyramid, so they tend to slide between your fingers. So you're gonna create this grid of pyramids, and again, chances are you're gonna have to create your own board also, like I did, to a little bit of extra space between the pyramids, and so they can lay flat. So you create this grid, which has this shape here, and alternates playable areas, that here indicated by the solid areas, with non-playable areas. I guess you can also get an old chessboard and checkerboard, and with a marker simply outline the area that you're gonna use. That would also work. So you're gonna place these pyramids here randomly, and then the two players will decide who plays with black and who plays with green. With white, the green pieces aren't controlled by anybody. The game is incredibly simple. It really is a 5-10 minutes filler, but it's, who knows, has a couple of interesting ideas there. When it is your turn, you will select one of your pieces or a stack of pieces that has one of yours on top, and you will move it orthogonally until it finds a spot where it can rest on top of somebody else's or some other piece, like so. So suppose that's the turn for white. You cannot move a piece if you cannot end the movement on top of another piece. So for example, I could not move that piece there, but I could move this one here, capturing that white piece and also protecting my black piece from capture from that one. And now white moves, and now black moves again. So again, actually, when you start having stacks, you see why it's so important to be able to reach the bottom and pick up the whole stack. Then white moves again and goes here. Then black goes here, only to be captured by white right away. Black again, and so on and so forth. So this is the idea. You simply keep moving your own pieces or stacks that have your own piece on top until no move is possible. The rules don't say it explicitly, but the only way this game makes sense is if you must take a move if you can. If you can just pass because you don't like it, then the game absolutely makes no sense. So you keep playing until there are no legal moves that are possible anymore. And at that point, the game is over. Oh, that should be go with it. And at that point, you check. The player at that point that controls the most green pieces wins the game. It is that simple. This is how you play Greener. Greener, from the point of view of the design, does what it's supposed to do. It does what it seems that the designer and the publisher were trying to do, which is to offer you a simple, quick two-player filler that you can play in 10 minutes or so. You can teach in less. And one of these abstract games with a little bit of a classic, with a classic feel to it, you know, like checkers or things like that. But it feels still different enough from the classics, but has this idea of a simple abstract game where capture is the main objective. It is a good design, and it has a lot more to offer than you would imagine at first sight. I find it really enjoyable, and discovering the different layers really is part of the fun and part of the experience. Again, for a game this simple, there is enough for you to think about, to worry about. Interesting decisions are how much you want to invest on a single stack that can go out and eat half of the green pieces on the board, but at the same time, a moment of distraction production and he's taking away from you. And he'll start grumbling, the design is unfair. But of course, you put yourself in a situation where you stack them all in one place. Yeah, you can put all of your eggs in one basket, but then you need to guard it really, really closely. Or you spread things around. At the beginning, the first couple of rounds, you may have a little bit of take that, mutual assured destruction, as players are likely to try to eliminate at least some of their pieces that are in position to eliminate each other. But ultimately, one player could have all of their pieces of their color and lose because the other player has one piece that survives but is stacked on top of more green pieces. So there is that element there. The mutual assured destruction pays off at times, and maybe people will get carried away a little bit, but then there are times like, yeah, actually it's better if instead of going here and I capture your piece and you capture mine, I capture yours, I go here and I start capturing all the green pieces, and there isn't much that you can do about it. So, interesting tactical decisions for such a small game. All of these great things that I said about the design, because the production, unfortunately, as I showed you, just does not work. And you can make your own copy, but sure, then you start questioning, then why would I buy a copy when I will have to make my own board anyways? I don't know if you iron this one, maybe it would work, but then you're gonna stuff your pieces in there anyway, so then you're gonna iron it every time that you play the game. It sounds annoying. So this board doesn't work because it's not flat, especially with pieces that light. It just doesn't work. They start moving around, sliding around, falling on each other. You don't know exactly which space each piece is. It's not just that it doesn't lay flat, it's also very small, because then you need to put your finger there at the bottom of each stack to pick it up. And so I think this design would really be enjoyable with a much larger production. I like the idea of small little games that come in bags. You throw them in your backpack, in your whatever it is, duffel bag when you're going on cabin vacation, which is pretty much the only kind of vacation you should do these days of pandemic. But the point, portable, easy, but simply this design, I don't think it lends itself so well to that. I think it's better to play on a large board with large pieces. Instead of pyramids that can also be tricky to pick up, I think it would be ideal if you had the game pieces that are like poker chips that you can stack easily, or the discs of Connect 4 that actually also connect in stacks. But then, of course, you would have a much bigger production. So what we have here is, in my opinion, a really fun design, really smart design for a small filler, but one with some depth and tactical elegance that is made, I would say, almost unplayable, but really not very enjoyable by the production in which it is presented here.